Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel and to another video of price action trading. And before we get started, let's take a look at the daily chart. Alright, so here at the daily chart we have a second leg working down a big bearish red bar. So once I saw this today, I knew that there will be no buying today. So let's take a look at the lower time frame. So today was a massive sell-off. This is probably my favorite type of day. Huge sell-offs. And this is ideal day for trader. If you were struggling today, you really need to, study the charts more, because today you have a lot of opportunities, to short this market. When you see market like this, such a big downtrend, you don't want to pick bottoms. You don't want to go long at all, even though, it may look like it's time to reverse any moment. You have to sit on the sidelines, wait for the corrections, and sell the pullbacks. And we have a one leg working lower like this, and I've moved it like here. We have a kind of second measured leg. We actually made a bottom right here. Normally I don't like using measured moves that much, but on a big trend days like this, when there is a clear one leg, I like to kind of want to see where the second leg might be. So this was a good, kind of tool for our target. But let's zoom in a little bit more. So yeah, so the trend line today was very easy to find. I basically used these first three swings. It fit on the bottom right here. Trend line was confirmed right here. When I came in, the market was somewhere around here. So there was no setup right here. This is just the first entry. And then the prices were working higher. We have a first break of the trend line. We are still inside of this shorter term trend line. We have a break and a new high. I think this was a good trade to go short. This is the first entry, pullback, second entry. It is the first break over this trend line, and you know what we have to wait? We have to wait for a new retest. So I think this was a good short to take. It would have worked. It would have worked right here, but you would have to, go through all this mess. So I definitely wouldn't blame you if you got out of this mess, because this is a congestion. This is a trading range, very tight. So this is a no trade zone. Like I mentioned in my video explaining the EMA is in the middle of those bars. Bars are next to each other, stacked up. You really don't want to mess with this. This will chop to pieces a lot of beginner traders, because it always looks like it's gonna go lower, and it always looks like it's gonna go higher. You have to wait. But anyway, this trade would have worked. It is a second entry, and it is according to our rules. So I really think this is a good trade. But if you miss this trade, there is no trade right here, and this is why this was my second trade, and I got trapped here. Even though it worked on this chart, actually I was today trading on a multi-chart, and I had much different bar. I had big bearish bar that ended much lower. So on this chart I would have made my scalp, but on the multi-chart platform I unfortunately didn't make it. This is what's gonna happen sometimes. It depends what signal bar you get. I wasn't able to snuck in that nicely on that platform, but never mind. And the reason why I took it, because I was looking at a fell break lower, a fell break higher, and I was still looking for a new low. But this is still part of this big congestion, looking at it back. So no surprise that we broke higher and pulled back right here. And this was a good trade. At this point, I'm still not really sold. If you look at the right side of the chart, this is a huge move down. And according to daily chart, there was a big bearish red bar forming. So I really was still only thinking shorts. This little rally didn't convince me enough. So when we pulled back through EMA like that, EMA held. This was a good trade to go short. And we have a second entry long that failed. This is a new high, pullback, first entry. This is the first break above this bullish bar. This bullish bar didn't trigger above, and this is a second trigger above this bar. So this is a second entry long that failed in a downtrend. So I still think you're kind of closer to these lows, yeah, but this is such a big downtrend. And this was look at it, this was all the momentum that bulls had. All this little rally, it's all they had. And when it gets shut down quickly like this, you have to stick with the bears, because they are now in control. You know, nobody is buying. I think this is just people taking profits. Nobody is buying this market. This is falling knife, and you only look for entries to short, you know. On days like this, you know, you really can bend the rules a little bit. You really can, you know, start taking first entries and, you know, go short at the lows, because almost any pullback you take today will result in a winning trade if you just keep selling. But of course, you know, I like to wait for higher probability setups at the EMA and at the trend line. And by the way, just a little bit basic lesson. How do we trend the downtrend? The best way is to trade, you know, the corrections, the pullback. And the pullbacks are located near the EMA and near the trend line. So even though I just told you you can bend the rules a little bit, yeah, but if you're a beginner, wait for the pullback when it gets to the EMA, and that's the best way. You don't want to risk it and taking a chance. Nevertheless, we have a little bit trend line working higher here. You have a break and a new high. Unfortunately, I've missed this trade. It is a first entry, second entry short. Beautiful bar under the EMA, break and a new high in a downtrend. I was ready to go short below this big bearish bar, and when it shot higher like this, I you know, I wasn't looking at the screen, but and I kind of kicked myself afterwards because there was a nice reversal bar forming under the EMA. Unfortunately, I missed this. I didn't expect, after this big bullish bar, I didn't expect to get another setup like that. So this is, you know, sometimes I pay the price for not looking at the chart all the time, because, you know, I handle other things, emails and stuff like that. So I'm not looking at the chart all the time. But it is under the EMA second entry according to rules. And we're just working low. Today was really a good day for practice for newer people, because look at this, you have a new low, you have a bullish correction working higher, you have a break, you have an attempt to make a new high, make a double top right here, and a big bearish bar right here. And you can almost treat it as a two-leg second entry, because you're working higher. This is one leg pullback, and this is a second leg. So, you know, two-legged pullback, second entry. I think this was a good trade. Now we're working lower, still EMA is pointing down, you know, EMA is pointing down. I don't like this setup that much, because we didn't make it to the EMA quite that much. Look at the difference right here. We're hugging the EMA, and right here we got quite some room. And I was thinking that there might be some time for a little bit of a correction at this point. So I didn't want to take the chance, and market, you know, made one more push lower before a correction. Whoa, not this line. Once again, don't forget to draw your short-term trend lines. They will keep you on the right side to market, because you have to let the correction play out. We have a first leg working lower, pullback, a second leg. This is a horrible bar. It is a second entry long that failed. It is a horrible bar though. I really didn't like taking this. But when we make this kind of a breakout pullback short under the EMA in such a huge downtrend like this, and remember the second measured move, like I showed you earlier, is still in the play. I really think this is a good trade. I actually took this trade, so I really think this is a good trade. And you know, pretty much, you know, this was a straightforward day. We're just making these corrections. If you always sell, you know, the pullbacks, you don't want to, because I kind of remember this when I was a beginner, I was always, you know, scared selling these corrections, because it looked like the market has already moved lower and it's now time for a reversal, you know, and the market has proven that, you know, it's going up. But you kind of have to trust this, you know, trust the setups blindly, trust the rules blindly, because the pullbacks and the corrections is the perfect way for us to go short. It is very tempting to keep selling these lows, because the market has proven, you know, that it's a downtrend, but the corrections are the best way and the most, you know, high probability way for us to go short. And we just made another low, and no surprise, we have a correction, we have a break and a new high. Not ideal bar. It is a second entry short, so you could have taken this, but I like to wait for this lower high. When the push higher by the bulls, you know, failed, you know, once again so quickly, this was a good trade to go short double top. Yeah, I like this trade a lot. And but you can see, like, we are kind of, the momentum is waving. We are starting to not go too much lower, and we're just starting to bottom out a little bit. You can see that there is some sort of support possibly forming. So don't get too eager, you know, to sell everything. You know, you still want to pay attention to these bottoming patterns, because there is never, you know, there is going to be some sort of a correction. No market is going to go straight down unless there's some sort of limit move like back in the day, 30 years ago. No market's going to go straight down like that, and there's going to be bigger pullbacks, bigger corrections. And this is what I was thinking right here. I was thinking right here that we might get a little bit of correction, plus we were kind of chopping right here. This is kind of a mess. This is nice looking bar, so you could have taken this, but I'm not going to mark it. I still think, you know, it's now time for, the market is starting to make some bottoms here, and I think there's a time for, you know, a little bit of bounce from here. And it happened, you know, 10 minutes later we actually bounced right here. And look at this. This is a nice reversal pattern. Pullback first entry, pullback second entry that failed. EMA is holding big bullish bar, but we don't want to counter trade this trend. No, that's a wrong idea. This is such a huge downtrend, absolutely massive. Even though this is textbook reversal pattern, you know, that looks looking nice, forget this. Forget about buying this market. You know, look how big the downtrend was. You know, there is a clear sign that the double top, you know, convinced a lot of traders there might be, you know, huge reversal now. I still think overall, you know, ES is gonna go higher. I definitely, you know, I'm betting on that in the future. But no surprise, there's bigger downtrend right now. Once again, you have to draw these trend lines. We are working higher. We have a break, new high, lower high, and I actually went short here, which I will mark it, so just you know where I went short. I probably don't recommend this to you because this is looking like a congestion, but I simply took this because if you look at this nice bullish bar and we ticked one tick above, because a lot of beginners, you know, they watch this go and go, they watch this go, and they missed this because, you know, this was a huge downtrend, so they didn't want to buy. And once we get up here, you know, they're like, oh, we're finally reversing, now I gotta enter, now I gotta go. And you know, unfortunately, these guys don't know what they're doing. So I went short on this bar because a lot of people went long at this very high of this move. The EMA is holding. It is very tempting for the beginners to go, you know, long here. A lot of people are afraid to sell the corrections, and they missed all this rally up, and now they think it's time to go long, and it's not. It's not time to go long. This is still a huge downtrend. This is a nice trap, and you look how nicely it worked. And this was the safer trade to take, because now we pull back through the EMA, big reversal bar. You know, this was a good trade. This was the last trade I'm gonna mark, even though there is a textbook second entry, as you can see. I'm gonna mark it just so you know that it is according to rules. Pullback first entry, pullback second entry under the EMA, and is a break and a new high of the correction. So, you know, today, like I said, very easy day. You can catch a lot of runners. You know, hopefully some of you are in a position that you can trade some runners, because if you catch few of those runners, you know, it will really relieve you psychologically, because once you make the one big stack, you can now afford to make a lot of losers. And by knowing that you can afford a lot of losers, you will probably not make losers, because if you know you can make a lot of losers, you get a lot of money, you're probably gonna be, you know, not worried. You're not gonna be scared to lose money, and you're gonna perform just fine. So if you had a bad day today, just, you know, remember, study your charts, and don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. You know, I want you, what I did, I always, you know, draw the trend lines. I even mark the arrows, and I also put my chart on the right side. So, and I was thinking, what was I thinking here? Why did I go short here? And I was kind of going through my mental process, what I was thinking and why did I take this trade. So don't just, you know, stare stare at this, you know, blindly, you know, just like, you know, watching paint dry. No, really try to focus on your mental process, what you were thinking and what probably happened wrong. But you know, day like today is absolutely amazing. Actually, me personally, I think, you know, based on experience on the ES, that sell-offs are much more, you know, much harder than rallies up. I think like not that many people want to buy, but once they see market going lower, a lot of people will, you know, exit their positions. So sell-offs are always gigantic and rallies up are, you know, kind of slower. So just something to remember. But I'm gonna wrap it up. Hopefully you had a great trading day. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, and I see you guys next video. Bye guys.